Ladies and gentlemen, imagine America in 1938. The Great Depression is still echoing through bank vaults and kitchen cupboards, and while most people are praying their sedan starts in the morning, one businessman decides he needs a 50-foot, 15.2-meter rolling palace with a conference room and air conditioning. Not a house, not a yacht, a motorhome. On purpose. That, my friends, is how the Curtiss 1938 Vagabond 50ft became the most unapologetic flex on wheels the pre-war world had ever seen. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel, because if you enjoy stories about outrageous machines built by men who clearly never heard the word moderation, you're in the right place. The legends history almost forgot and polished them until they shine brighter than a politician's campaign promise. Now, let's rewind to California in the late 1930s. Dr. Hubert Eaton, the visionary behind Forest Lawn Memorial Park, was not just a cemetery developer, he was a branding genius. He understood something modern influencers still try to master. Perception is power. If you want clients to trust you with eternity, you arrive in style. And while most businessmen would settle for a Cadillac, Eaton commissioned what can only be described as a land-based executive suite. The result was the 1938 Vagabond, a custom combination of a Rio cab forward heavy hauler and a Curtiss Aerocar trailer. The Curtiss Aerocar itself had been introduced in 1929 by aviation pioneer Glenn H. Curtiss. Built in Michigan and Florida, around 300 Aerocars left the factory gates. Fewer than a dozen survive today. And only one 1937 example is fully restored and displayed at the Glenn H. Curtiss Museum in New York. Each Aerocar was effectively bespoke because the hitch had to be tailored to its towing vehicle. Eaton's example went even further. As far as records suggest, it is one of only two executive-scale Aerocar projects of this magnitude. This was not a camping trailer. It was a mobile headquarters. Eaton wanted to travel between properties, host board meetings, entertain guests, and, if necessary, head out on hunting trips without sacrificing comfort. Originally, the trailer could sleep up to 6 people, while the driver had his own berth in the tractor unit. Later, Eaton removed the beds in the trailer and transformed it fully into office space. Business first, naps second. The production circumstances were remarkable. America was climbing out of economic hardship, yet industrial optimism was returning. Innovation was in the air. Designers and engineers were experimenting with streamlined forms inspired by aviation and rail. The Vagabond absorbed that spirit. It reflected the belief that technology and luxury could coexist, even in uncertain times. Was built not as a mass-market product, but as a commissioned statement. One unit, one vision, one very confident owner. Over time, the Vagabond would pass through different phases of use. Forest Lawn operated it for decades. In 1998, it was donated to the Peterson Automotive Museum. When the museum auctioned it in 2017, it shocked observers by selling for $137,000, a surprisingly modest sum considering its uniqueness. It resurfaced again in 2018 at the ICA4 meet in Hershey, Pennsylvania, restored Yordi to running condition and looking healthier than many vehicles half its size and half its age. Technically, the Vagabond was as bold as its concept. The tractor was a 1938 Rio cab forward hauler, custom-built by Standard Carriage Works of Los Angeles. Initially, it was powered by a rear-mounted 12-cylinder white truck engine producing 212 horsepower, approximately 158 kilowatts. In the late 1930s, that was serious output for a heavy commercial platform. The engine drove the rear wheels through a heavy-duty manual transmission built to haul weight without complaint. It was replaced with a Sembei-Schauscher horsepower Cummins diesel, roughly RR 30 kilowatts. That diesel continued operating until 1991. Let that sink in. The second engine outlived disco, VHS tapes, and probably several of my friend Timmy's marriages. The entire rig measured 50 feet in length or 15.2 meters, with a massive 30-foot wheelbase equivalent to 9.1 meters. Total weight was approximately 23,000 pounds or 10,432 kilograms. Perspective, that is heavier than many modern Class A motorhomes. Suspension relied on robust leaf springs, while braking was handled by hydraulic drum brakes, appropriate for the era but demanding. Respect from the driver, dual rear wheels helped distribute the load and maintain stability. Top speed was never officially documented, but estimates suggest a comfortable cruising range between 45 and 55 miles per h-hour, roughly 72 to 88 kilometers. Fuel consumption figures were not formally recorded, but with that mass and a large displacement truck engine, efficiency was clearly not the design priority. Range and endurance were more important than thrift. The trailer section, permanently fixed to the hauler, was a top-tier Curtiss Aerocar adapted into an office on wheels. It featured seating for 8, a conference lounge, and in its original configuration, separate sleeping quarters. There was a full restroom with shower, a kitchen equipped with a full-size refrigerator, and a sink supplying both hot and cold water. It even included cup holders, ashtrays, dedicated lighting, and an intercom system connecting passengers to the driver. Up front, an observation deck incorporated a compass and odometer, along with lateral mirrors, windshield wipers. A deluxe cupola improved visibility. Air conditioning in 1938 was almost unheard of in road vehicles, yet here it was, humming away above wood finishes and blue plush upholstery. When we step inside the 1938 Vagabond, we are not entering a camper, we are entering a philosophy. The design was not about escape into nature, but about bringing authority with you wherever the road stretched. Wood finishes lined the interior, polished and dignified, while blue plush upholstery softened the atmosphere just enough to remind guests that power does not have to be uncomfortable. Bob once told me air conditioning in 1938 was reverse-engineered from alien spacecraft. I told him the only alien here is his electricity bill. The Aerocar had once been marketed as the boathouse of the highway, and in this configuration, that slogan made perfect sense. The lateral mirrors, windshield wipers, and that distinctive cupola created visibility unusual for such a massive rig. The intercom system between trailer and driver reinforced hierarchy and coordination. Even modern motorhomes often struggle to integrate boardroom dignity with domestic comfort. The Vagabond achieved it decades before the RV industry matured. Today, similar, historically significant custom motorhomes can command higher sums depending on condition and documentation, though the Vagabond remains a unique benchmark rather than a repeatable market trend. Originally, its build cost in 1938 reportedly exceeded $20,000 US, adjusted for inflation that represents several $100,000 in today's money. In Depression-era America, that amount could purchase multiple houses. Eaton invested it in mobility, image, and convenience. I have seen dreamers spend their savings on less practical things. As for prices, we have the documented 2017 sale at $137,000 through the Peterson Automotive Museum. Considering its rarity, condition at the time, and historical documentation, that number remains one of the most intriguing bargains in pre-war custom vehicle history. Whether it will surpass that figure dramatically in a future sale depends on restoration, mechanical health, collector appetite for singular artifacts rather than brand name badges. Just make sure, unlike Timmy, that your engineering projects include working brakes and a budget spreadsheet.